Here we are once again at the very lovely corner, and today it's a very, very sunny corner. We're at the corner of Glenwood and Luntz. We're in the heart of Rogers Park. We're up here on the stage at the Heartland Cafe, where every Saturday morning we bring you another edition of Live from the Heartland. This is Michael James and
Katy Hogan.
And we're your co-hosts this morning, and we're going to be talking politics. We're going to be talking politics from the ward level, out through the city into the county, and we're going to even talk about what's going on in the upper Midwest, up in Minnesota. We've got three guests. We're going to have Alderman candidate in a runoff, John Arena, coming up first. A little bit later, we're going to have Jim Houlihan. He is the former assessor and a much talked about possible candidate for mayor a while back, and an old friend. And we're going to have another friend, Rich Kaiser, who is the chairman of the political science department at Carleton College and an activist in the Democratic Party. He's going to talk about Minnesota politics left and right, including the campaign of Michelle Bachmann. So we're going to get started. Here we go. Good morning to you, John Arena.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Katy.
Good morning, John. Congratulations on making it to the runoff.
Oh, thank you very much.
And helping cause the runoff, probably.
I actually first saw your name on a poster that John Langford, a famed musician, was doing a benefit. So I said, if John's doing that, and he used to be in a band called the Mekongs, I figured this guy must be all right. And we're so glad you came on the show.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, John Langford's a good friend. His kids go to the same school as mine. So.
Which school is that, Bell?
Bell Elementary. Yeah.
All right.
I got two kids who came out of Bell.
Yeah, great school. Great example of good public education.
So, John, what possessed you to take this step and run for alderman? And you are of the 41st Ward?
45th Ward.
45th Ward, sorry.
Yeah.
The old Ted Matlack. Right?
No, it's Patrick LeVar.
Patrick
Oh,
LeVar.
I'm sorry.
Katie, I thought you knew all these details.
Sorry. Let me start all over again. Yes, 45th Ward, Mr. LeVar's old stopper.
So give us a little rundown on why you decided to get involved in politics.
Well, I've been active in my community for a long time, advocating for better access, better development, more sustainable development with community input. And, as a homeowner in the area, I just felt like we can have businesses come to the area and the alderman's office can advocate for that. And it was all falling on a deaf ear. And, if you want to change the system, sometimes you got to get into it. So I decided to run.
Were you a politically conscious fellow growing up in New Jersey and then moving out to Aurora?
Well, we moved to Aurora in '79, so I was a little bit young, but I think I started becoming politically conscious, through high school and college and at Northern Illinois University. And moving to Chicago, I think everybody's involved in politics in one way or another somehow.
And the people who say, I don't like politics, I always say, well, everything you do is affected by it, so you may as well get involved.
Yeah, and so I was keeping an eye on what was going on at the city council. I think once you start a family and become a homeowner, you start becoming even more aware of what's going on around you. And for me, it was mostly at the local level that I felt that I should be able to get a hold of my alderman. We should be able to have input in zoning and development issues that affect our quality of life, and how we move through the city and the ward. And I wasn't getting that, and so that was frustrating for me and a lot of other people that I worked with over the years with the Portage Park Neighborhood Association and the Six Corners Association.
Do you remember the exact moment when it besides being someone who was concerned about the situation in your ward, when you actually hit you said, I think I'm going to run?
Yeah, I had offered the alderman at the time, Pat LeVar, my help if he just gave us input on zoning issues, returned a phone call once in a while. Was at a zoning meeting, and he said he was worried that what we were doing was politically motivated. And I said, well, it wasn't. I'll walk precincts for you if you want me to prove that it's not political and I don't want your job. And he basically turned me down. He never took me up on the offer, so I figured, okay, he doesn't want me to, he doesn't want me to keep me close and at least keep an eye on me. I'll run against him.
Well, John Arena, tell us why you think you would be the best candidate. I know you're up against a Republican who sometimes becomes a Democrat. He's a police officer, kind of pretty conservative on social issues. His name is Garrido. I think it's John too.
John Garrido.
And so you're in a runoff, and We think you'll probably win. That's why we have you on the show.
I like your optimism. That's good.
What did you do before you got involved in decided to run? What's your line of work?
My wife and I run a small graphic design and marketing firm, and I've been in that business, advertising marketing, for a number of years. And in 2001, we started the business and work locally. We work with some bigger clients throughout the city, and it's a great industry and it's a great job to be a creative director. But kind of sometimes you just say when something becomes more important to you and there's an opportunity. So to run right now is what we need in the 45th Ward, and we need new leadership on the City Council.
What kind of up and down has it been to be in the campaign? What has campaigning taught you, for starters?
There's
a lot of people appear, right? Folks come up to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of good people. I've met some great people in the neighborhoods. I just think, one of the things that in the 45th Ward, where the process was all about pushing people away and making sure you're kind of controlling the vote, the way kind of machine politics does, it divides us. And that's its intent, to make sure people stay away and feel like there aren't good choices, and making sure that good candidates aren't on the ballot. And I've seen, that the 45th Ward has people that are really crying for change. They really want to see this city move in a new direction. And they've come out and they've been part of this campaign. To get into the runoff, it was completely a grassroots effort. And it was designed that way from the beginning. I had 2 paid staffers. That's it. The rest were volunteers. And they're, moms with kids like Hillary Larson, who my treasurer has been on board from the very beginning, and has just donated her time and energy towards making sure we're doing things right from a disclosure standpoint, and the money's being managed well. Cherry Hernandez, an preschool teacher at Portage Park, she's been my events coordinator from the beginning, and she's just amazing energy and amazing advocate for the campaign. So it's people like that who have come out and has really honored me with their time and energy, and that's been the most humbling thing about this.
It is pretty inspiring, isn't it? And if you succeed on Tuesday, you will be the first sort of independently elected alderman in your ward ever, I believe.
Yeah, outside of kind of the Democratic organization.
Right.
In my knowledge of the history of politics.
And you also have the support. You've got endorsements that we like, including our own first elected independent alderman of this ward many moons ago, which is David Orr.
Yeah.
You got his endorsement, I understand.
His endorsement, Joe Moore's endorsement.
David Hoffman.
David Hoffman endorsed me this week.
And
Tony Preckwinkle has endorsed me as well.
All right.
How about Jim Houlihan?
Jim Houlihan said a few good things
you
about me.
endorsing him? Yeah, Jim Houlihan, our next guest.
Breaking news, folks.
Breaking news.
Hi.
Just so you all know, you are listening to Live from the Heartland over WLUW 88.7, Chicago's Sound Alliance. We're here every Saturday morning from the corner of Glenwood and Lund on the stage at the Heartland Cafe. It's Katy, Hogan, and Michael James. And you can see earlier editions of Live from the Heartland at youtube.com/heartlandmedia.
And just real quick, there's 3 other endorsements. Very early on, I was endorsed by Mike Holinsky, former state representative from the area, and he's been just amazing. Great guy, stands for good government, and has stood behind my campaign from the beginning.
Does he live in your ward?
He does actually live in the ward.
Great. That's great.
And then 2 others, Tom Gagan.
He's been on the show too.
And again, somebody I admire and respect a great deal, and Nancy Kazak, former state representative. Nancy Kazak.
Excellent. All good people.
So when you have that kind of backing, it really keeps the energy going, and you know what you're working for.
So what do you need to do between now and Tuesday to ensure a win?
We need to get the vote out. We know the voters are there. We know that our message, Mike, you asked me about the difference between John Garrido and myself, and really it's my message. It's my involvement in the community, my advocacy role in the community, and that's what I want to bring to the chair. Maintaining an open and accountable ward office, bringing businesses and jobs back to the area, to balance out the quality neighborhoods that we have in the ward. And at the city council level, just taking things to a new level in terms of rejecting sale of assets to pay day-to-day bills like we do with the parking meters. We need to move away from that just failed policy in how we manage the city's money and the city's resources.
I know that you cannot think about this until Tuesday's over, and you're right, you shouldn't think about anything but getting out the vote.
Yeah,
She's going to ask anyhow.
But I am going to wonder, how do you think that working with the new mayor of the city and whatever alteration the city council will have, in some ways it looks a lot the same, and Tuesday will tell us how different it'll turn out, but how do you feel about working with Rahm Emanuel as mayor?
Well, he was our congressman in the 45th ward, so I've worked with him a little bit, bringing some improvement projects to Six Corners and he helped get funding for a streetscape beautification project. So and then I got a chance to meet with the mayor-elect, and we talked about, he's looking for partners as his term, and that's good. We need to kind of have a vision for where we want to go collectively, but the devil's going to be in the details. How do we get the ethics reform, the contract reform, the budget reform and pension reform issues dealt with so that it's fair and equitable for the broadest population in Chicago? I think that's been the biggest thing that I've seen, is this kind of closed-in circle of who has access from a business and individual standpoint through the daily years as they've come to a close. He's talking about opening that back up, and my job's going to be to hold him accountable to that commitment.
And we like hearing that.
That sounds good, John Arena.
John Arena, let me ask you in our closing moments of this segment of Live from the Heartland to tell us a little bit about your ward. I know we talked before the show about Six Corners and how it was a thriving area. It's slowed down. What my fondest memories are Portage Park, and there used to be a boxing program back there in the 60s. You have a great Olympic swimming pool out there.
Absolutely.
What's the racial, ethnic, religious makeup of the ward? Class background? Any kind of stuff you could share with us about?
Predominantly there's a lot of Roman Catholic base. Eastern European and Polish population is still substantial. Hispanic population has been rising in the southern part of the ward. But the biggest change that I've seen after walking the majority of the ward, going door to door, getting the message out, has been young families that have moved to the area for, the great housing, the quality of life, access to schools and parks and open space. They're the biggest mix that's come in, and they're looking for an ear. They're looking for an area that's going to be responsive to their needs, so we can walk in our neighborhoods instead of getting our cars and driving to the necessities we need. We need to kind of turn over that model of auto-centric versus being in our neighborhoods again, and I think that's one of the things I stand for.
Let me ask you about schools briefly. You have kids at Bell School, and that's a great school. I mean, all public schools should really have the resources and the support that Bell gets. What's your take on charter schools versus public schools? Your direction on education?
Well, Bell is a model of how a public school can function on so many different levels. Charter schools, can be a part of the mix, but they haven't proven themselves to be the answer. The key with Bell is parent involvement. What I've been involved in that school is bringing people out. That sentiment is already there, that they want to see their kids succeed, and they know that parents have to be invested in the process and support the school. They can't just rely on CPS to do it all. And bringing that idea to the schools in the 45th Ward and encouraging that involvement is going to be one of the key investments I'm going to have in the schools.
John Arena, we wish you a very successful Tuesday, April 5th. And all of you who are in wards that have runoffs, please vote.
Can I just say one thing? We have an action day coming up tomorrow, Sunday. Meet at Coletti's at 10 a.m. Coletti's is at the intersection of Elston and Central. You can come out and support the campaign and better government in Chicago.
Excellent.
And do you have a website?
Yes, we do. Arena445.com. ARENAFOR45.com.
Thanks so much for coming on live from
Thanks
the Heartland.
so
We hope
much,
to
Jen.
see you. We hope we watch you on the news, making all kind of great progress here in the city.
I look forward to it, Mike and Katy. Thank you.
Okay, brother.
Thank you so
Okay,
much,
stay
John.
tuned. We're going to take a short musical break, and we'll be back with a little bit more
Peace
live
out.
from the Heartland. We're having a great time up here today. The sun is shining, and we hope you're having a good time too. We'll be right back.